Okay, hi Thomas. Today we're solving Leetcode problem called a minimum time to visit a cell in a grid. So we're given a matrix. Okay, we're starting at the top left cell, right? Okay, so each of these cells are marked with a number. So these numbers have meanings. It means that in order to reach this cell, you would have to be at n times, where n is the number that is marked on the cell. So you can each time you move to a cell back and forth, for example, it increases the time by 1. So if I'm here and I move to here, it means that I'm at time 1, and I can reach this cell from the top left cell, right? But I cannot reach this cell at time 1, because now if I move to here, from here to here, I'm at time 1, right? It's smaller than the number that is marked on this cell. I cannot reach it yet. In order to reach this cell, I have to move back and forth between these two cells up until the time where I can reach this cell, right? Okay, so now the solution, the problem tells us to return the minimum time to traverse from the top left cell to the bottom right cell. And if we cannot visit the bottom right cell, then return -1. So if we exclude the constraint where we have to be at least at the n time to visit a cell, what do you imagine of? Right? If you can freely go to every cell as long as it is 4 directional adjacent to the cell that you are in, basically you can imagine all of these cells as a node and the number as a cost, right? And in order to compute the shortest path between two cells, what do you think of? That's basically Dijkstra, right? Or A star, everything that shortest path algorithm that you can think of. Okay, but here we have to use basically a modified version of Dijkstra, right? Okay, so I want you to think of two options here, right? Once, if I want to move to this cell, okay, so now the difference between 0 and 5 is 5. Okay, so given that I can move to this cell, right? Okay, now so I'm at this cell, I cannot move to this cell yet, but I can move back and forth to expand the time, right? Okay, so now I'm at time 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I move to this cell now? Yet, right? 5. Okay, so in cases where the difference between two cells is an odd number, right? In case where the difference between two cells is an odd number, we can move to that cell at n time, right? Okay, so now if this guy is actually a 4, right? Imagine this guy is a 4. We can do 0, 1, 2, 3, right? 4. Now at this moment we can jump to this guy because he is a 4, but it takes an additional of 1 second, right? Okay, so in cases where the difference between two cells is an even number, we need to wait an additional 1 seconds. Okay, so that's basically it, right? Okay, so this these two option is actually calculating the minimum time it takes for you to traverse to a cell given the state that you are in, right? Given the state that you are in, for example, you can be at this cell but you are at time 2, you can be at this cell but you can be at time 3, for example, and then you calculate the difference between the cell that you are going to visit and then the current time that you are in. If it is odd, then we can move to that cell as basically the number that of the cell that you're going to. Else you have to wait an additional 1 seconds. Means you take whatever this is and then +1, right? Okay, so that is the time that required for you to move to that number, right? But it can also be that you are already at time 6 here, right? There can be multiple states for a cell because what we push into the min heap is not row and column only, but it is time, row, and column, right? To mark the state of the cell that we are currently in. So at here we can be at time 6 and then it will take 7 seconds to reach to this cell, right? If we reach this cell, then it will be 6 + 1 means 7. So you have to differentiate between the time that required for you to reach a cell and then the real physical time that you can reach a cell, right? That's going to be time +1. And then okay, so whatever is the maximum of these two guys, that's what we are going to push into the min heap, right? Okay, so if now I'm at time 6, okay, if I reach this cell and I want to push it to the min heap, it's going to be 7. It's not going to be 5, right? Okay, but if I'm at time 0 and I want to go to visit this cell, I'm going to visit it at 5 seconds, right? Because 0 + 1 is 1, and at time 1 I'm not going to visit it yet. Okay, so that's basically the intuition for this problem. Imagine all the cell at cost, but with constraint, right? So with this constraint, we have to push into our min heap the corrected value, rather than just push in whatever the number of each cell into the min heap, right? Because that will violate the constraint. So now I'm going to initiate our Dijkstra. Let's look at constraint. Okay, so first risk is always going to be 0. Okay, so there's another catch here, is that in order to move back and forth between cells, to waste time before jumping into a higher cell, right, we need to have a cell that we can visit, right? Okay, so at this example you can see that I'm at cell 0. Okay, this is 2, this is 3. Okay, I want to waste time by jumping into another cell. What cell I'm going to jump into? None, right? Basically I'm stuck here. So that's the HK of this problem, is that if grid 0, 1 and it's actually larger than 1 and grid 1, 0 is also larger than 1, we just return -1 instantly, right? Okay, so if that's not the case, then there will be always a cell that we can jump into, right? We don't have to worry about it. Okay, so that's the Dijkstra table, and then we have to initiate our min heap in the form of time, row, and column. So whatever behind is just basically simple Dijkstra. Time, row, column. Let's go to key, if pop. If time is actually larger than whatever the value in this Dijkstra table at this row and column, and we just continue because we have already found a way, a shorter path that leads to this row and column, right? Else, if you just return the time, right? And then after that, we're going to basically update the Dijkstra table. Be time. Okay. Now we are going to expand for directional. Make sure that this is inbound. Okay, so now we are going to calculate the difference between time that we are in and then the constraint of the new cell. Right? Okay, so the wait time could be equal to 1 if diff is an even number, else then this is 0. Okay, so in order to move to a new cell, then it will take us the physical time that we have are going to jump into the new cell, and then the constraint, right? The constraint is going to be grid and R and C plus weight. Okay, so if new time is actually smaller than the current value in the Dijkstra table at this new row, new column, then we are going to update our Dijkstra table. And we'll push it into the min heap. Okay, so once we exhaust the min heap and then we return nothing, then we just return -1 because basically we cannot reach here, right? Basically for every table, right, there will be a solution if these two blocks is not blocked, and that can be proven, right, by wasting time between jumping from two cells. Okay, so we can reach whatever number of cells, no matter how big it is, right? It's just here, just run it, float that. Time is Dijkstra 00 is equal to 0. Float object. Here. Here. Let's just bring the Dijkstra. Return something. inf here, right? Yeah, that's correct, right? Okay, so submitted. As you can see, it's spread efficient, so the time complexity of this would be okay, so RC log RC, then space basically RC. Okay, so that's it for today. So I hope you guys understand the solution and the intuition behind it. See you guys in next video.